Welcome to the Junction City Podcast. I'm your host, Dan Martinez. On the show today, in the sweatbox, to my right,
Shane Forrester.
He's at.
I'm pointing
You
at
can
you.
fucking say it.
Can I just say it? You guys fucking got mad at me last time that I was actually saying
How are we
it.
going to do this every
John
time?
Miles
We should have
and
recorded
Kobe
one.
Peterson. I don't know.
Hey, that was before we had video.
Because
Oh, that's right. Oh, hey, everybody say hi to the camera. Here. You fucking guys.
Every goddamn show, I got to say my name. You just say it.
Okay, I'll fucking
You
start
don't
saying
say
it.
fucking hard to say your name. Every show I gotta say like at least 6 words.
Like why do we got to skip this fucking thing? Like, just move on to the intro.
This is the intro.
So
Why
on
don't we
today's
have
show,
creative-
so on
recorded
today's show,
fucking intro?
we're gonna have
use last
Alicia Washington from Good Company Theater come out and talk to us. We had a really great conversation. She's not here right now because Magic Media. We're gonna have her here later today. What though? Before we get to that, what's been going on with you, fucking angry old man?
Dude, I screwed
I'll
up.
tell you what I've been doing all week. I've been looking
Will
at
you?
polls.
Oh, man.
That's it. We're ending the show.
I can't
No,
wait.
fuck you guys. I'm
I
leaving.
can't wait.
You
No,
have the
and
perfect
here's-
opportunity to turn this around on Shane.
Yeah, you did.
Oh, he's just checking out some hot
You
poll,
didn't even say
and
it.
you're just like,
You didn't even
"Oh, poor me."
So, anyways,
Because
here's what I
nobody was
decided in 2020.
Oh, man.
Quit fucking voting for your heart and who's going to give you a bunch of free shit.
Boo.
Oh
Boom.
my god, this guy.
Start voting for people that can win some fucking states
Shane's
that
over
matter.
here.
So you tell me to
We
vote
don't
Joe
even-
Biden?
we
You tell me to
don't-
vote Joe
We don't even win
Biden?
California by 9 million fucking votes.
I cannot be more tired of this conversation. I have to have it every week.
right, that's what
with
I've been
some
doing all week.
person, some fucking new expert on presidential politics.
Oh, man, you guys are the best.
I know this is like gotten out of hand at
John,
this point.
I like how Shane went straight to the head, dude. He's like, no, I took my
'cause
kids to
we
a basketball
cut
game,
him
dude.
It
He
wasn't.
went
Yeah.
right
He
in.
had 5 minutes right before we started talking about it. It doesn't. Thanks,
So-
Shane.
Yeah,
what else
Thanks,
did you
Shane.
guys
Great
do?
So
point.
I screwed up. So yesterday I was like, remember I messaged you guys in the Slack channel? I was like, hey, who wants to go to the Oktoberfest thing up in Snow Basin?
Yeah.
So I was like, oh, these guys don't want to go. Whatever, I'm going to go up there. Well, guess what?
Not happening.
It wasn't yesterday.
Hey, you mean? Wait a minute. You mean to tell me they didn't do Oktoberfest in September?
Well,
They don't do it in
traditionally
October.
Oktoberfest is actually in September, yeah. In Munich.
It is.
Yeah, man.
You didn't know
Well,
that?
why the fuck is it called Oktoberfest?
Because it ends in October.
It goes the whole
It's
month.
leading up
It
to
leads-
October.
It ends in October, yeah. But so I drove up to Snow Basin. I'm like, all right, let's do this. I
Drove all the way up there.
Yeah, I convinced my wife, and we get there, and like all these people riding mountain bikes. I'm like, all right, this seems cool. And then I start looking around, I'm like, dude, where's all the bratwurst? Like, what's going on? And I'm like, dude, hang on. And I pull out my phone. I'm like, oh, it's tomorrow. It's on Sundays, not Saturdays.
Oh, my God.
So I was like,
Can
well,
you imagine if we would have gone?
so we went to Harvest Moon instead, which was awesome. And there was a guy there who was cooking bratwurst, and I was like,
Still got a
dude,
brat.
yeah, I was like, when does this like come to like a store that I can go? He's like, I'm looking at a brick and mortar right now. And I was like, music to my ears, dude, because it was pretty good bratwurst.
Nice.
Yeah,
Nice.
So Harvest Moon was a lot of fun though. A lot of
Dan
fun.
likes polls.
God
Cody
damn it!
likes
No, see,
sausage. What do you
no,
like?
I was gonna make that. I was gonna make that joke too. Say it again, Shane. Gosh. What did
Dan
you do?
likes polls. Kobe likes sausage. And you like. What did you do?
Oh man,
I'm trying to remember what I did. The only thing I can think of that I did is I was watching a lot of city council meetings, Ogden city council meetings. Yeah. So I'll just put it right here. I have to say I was wrong last week
Oh shit!
about Angel Castillo. You know, I said that I hadn't seen her do anything that told me she was ready to execute her vision. I think is kind of what I said.
Yep.
But man, she's been talking in those city council meetings. She shows it there. You can tell watching her when she speaks at city council meetings.
Oh.
you guys hear that?
I got her.
That's Crow.
It is.
John's about to eat some.
You know what? This is what makes me great, is that when I'm wrong, I will come and say I was wrong. I'll bring it up. So I was wrong.
All right.
Angel, you're great.
Kudos to
what'd you
John
do?
for being willing to do that.
What'd you do? Dan?
All
right, let's start the show.
Yeah.
Moving along.
Well, let's talk about the bet. Can we talk about the bet?
Oh, yeah. I actually don't know what happened in the game. Did the Panthers win?
Yes. The Panthers didn't just win.
No, hold on a second.
The Panthers
Let's just-
actually won?
let's
Is
just
it
fucking say
really?
The, bet.
The
Okay,
Panthers
The bet
rolled.
was.
Their ass.
Yeah. The bet was.
You're not even football fans.
Everybody listening cares
not a
about the
football fan?
Panthers
Neither one of you
Cardinals
do.
game.
Are you kidding me right now? You're telling me into my face
So-
that I'm not a football fan?
I'm more of a football fan than I've ever been.
Okay.
I
Kobe-
knew.
Kobe
Listen,
gets the what?
I was telling my wife how proud I was that I was having a relevant sports conversation where I knew that the quarterback was out and I knew they were 0-2. I knew My wife keeps saying, "Why is this your team?" And then I try to say,
hey.
"Have you ever seen the fucking hats that Cam Newton wears?"
That's the reason. So we made a bet. So this morning in the Slack channel, I said, so John and I's team are the Carolina Panthers. First time I've ever got to like hang out with a guy and be a fan of a team. It's pretty awesome. And
That was a cute little fist bump, by the way.
yeah, Dan's team
Panthers.
are the Arizona Cardinals.
Our fists were Panthers.
Yep.
It was a Panther
So
kiss.
in the Slack channel this morning, I said, "Hey, John, should we have a wager with Dan since our teams are playing each other today?" And then John comes in and says, "No, we better not. Cam Newton's out, and we're 0-2, and this probably isn't going to happen." I was like, you know what, Kyler Murray has been really good of late. Maybe I don't do it. And then Dan's like, "Yeah, let's have a wager." And I was like, "Nah, I better not." And then John's all, "Whatever. Well, I'm in." And I'm like, "All right, dude. If John's in, I'm in."
Seriously, it was like
bet whenever.
Yeah, it's like
It's a
okay.
bad idea, but so
So we bet.
Yeah, I've got to gamble.
Loser has to wear a shirt on the show chosen by the winner. And I told Dan that he was probably going to make me wear like
Where were you, Shane?
a trashy-
Make me
Oh,
stop.
I was watching.
Why didn't you stop this?
No. I read every one of them. It was
so
fine.
so we made the bet
so now
and the
Dan
Panthers rolled
Yeah.
the Cardinals today. Was
That's
it 38-20?
Roll 'em, or it was
Dude,
it was like a
you let the backup
Maybe.
quarterback throw
The
4 touchdown
Panthers
passes, bro.
Rolled,
Dude.
and Dan likes polls. Is the shirt. That's what the shirt should say.
Print
That's
it.
that's not the
Print
shirt.
it.
That's
No, we're
that
not
is
doing that
a
shirt.
god awful shirt.
All right.
Thank you.
So that's the bet. So,
So I'll be wearing a shirt next week.
well, some week.
I mean, I'm wearing a shirt.
You are going to spell it Poll, right?
I don't know.
Yeah, Dan's going to be wearing a shirt, and that shirt is going to be a
Anyway.
debut.
Yeah.
And once you've seen Dan wear that shirt, you will be able to purchase
You
it.
will also be able to buy that shirt on our website.
Yeah.
Look out for that. Actually, that'll be coming soon.
We're going to
but we
sell them
should-
if you guys want one, and we'll donate all proceeds to charity.
Well, we'll probably donate
No.
proceeds to.
Kobe's like,
Well, we'll probably take the proceeds and put it into, paying people to write local news stories.
Some
Is likely
proceeds.
what
yeah,
Some
saving
proceeds will go to
journalism.
charity.
Saving journalism is
Saving
what probably we'll do
journalism.
with it.
Oh,
In Weber
saving
County.
Journalism.
Yeah. So,
What the?
yeah. The wink and the gun. Is that what we just got?
The
No.
wink and the yank and the wink. So I think that's enough of us for right now.
Too
We'll be
much.
right back, and when we come back from the break, we'll
No,
have
this sucks.
no. Why?
He's just being a dick. He's about to
want me to
finish
just-
it.
Worst
Yeah.
transition ever.
What?
No, that was like a normal
good.
transition.
God damn it, John. We were fucking ready. We were
All right.
there.
I
Let's
hated
go
it.
have some beers,
Hey,
fellas.
we'll be right back. Recording.
We haven't been recording this whole time.
Man, that was some juicy stuff.
That was some juicy stuff. I can't believe we didn't
Too
have
bad.
It was pretty in depth.
Yeah.
Like it was heavy.
We always do the best stuff off air.
I
Yep.
know, right?
No, I guess that's it. Thanks,
how it happens.
everyone.
Yep. Thanks for being here.
So we've
Alicia, I
got
appreciate you.
Alicia Washington
Correct.
with Good Company Theater here
Yep.
in Ogden.
Mm-hmm.
Welcome out to the Sweatbox.
Thank you.
It's cooling off in here, though.
Yeah.
Now that the
Yeah, I
weather's
know.
changing.
It's
been hotter.
Really cold, really fast.
It needs like a winter name. Later.
We'll get
Winter's
it later.
coming. Mhm.
Winter's coming.
So Good Company Theater it's like right under the bridge, basically,
Basically.
on 24th Street,
Yep.
24th and Wall.
24th and Wall. If you go past the bridge, you've gotten too far. So everyone knows little salon that's on the corner, 24th and Wall. We're right next door to it. There's plenty of parking on the east side, and that's where the entrance is as well.
Tell me about Good Company Theater.
So Good Company Theater, oh my gosh, how do you talk about the thing that you love the most? So we are a contemporary theater company started by myself and my sister Camille Washington back in 2012. Our mission is to develop and promote high-quality, eclectic theatrical productions, forging new relationships between audiences, performers, and spaces in the process.
Yeah,
That's what she
just
said.
a mission
Wow.
statement.
She just did that. She just did it. Yeah.
Thanks. I've been saying it for a while. But really what we want to do is bring out amazing stories that particularly highlight stories of marginalized groups of people to the Ogden scene. And that can either be through new works, new plays, new musicals, or plays and musicals and reviews that we do. Like earlier this year, Camille's like, what are we going to do in February? And I'm like, I don't know. So I was driving one day. I get some of my best thoughts when I'm driving. And I'm like, we should do a show that's a musical review that features all Black talent. And I'm like, then we should call it You Bet Your Black Ass Broadway. And we did it.
Nice.
And it was, everyone's like, oh my gosh, there's ass in the title. Oh my gosh, it's Black people. Oh my gosh, what am I getting into? But it's really just celebrating African Americans in theater and giving them space to perform, because typically we don't get to see that in theater.
That's awesome. How did it go? Was it well received?
Oh, so well
Amazing.
received. We're doing it again this year.
Good.
Next year.
Yeah. The coming February.
Yes.
And you do shows year round?
We do, yes. So
Like-
this season in particular, we have produced 7 of 8 shows so far.
Oh, okay.
So we've been in production since January.
Yeah.
A new show every 4 to 6 weeks.
And then you've got one about to start?
We just
Started.
opened this weekend.
Oh, this
Yep.
weekend.
Yep.
And what's that one?
So it's called Ripped by Rachel Bublitz, and it's a show about consent.
What other like marginalized groups have you worked with? I mean, that you've been putting out there. So
Well, the one I saw was, and you have to remind, The View Upstairs.
Yes.
That's what it was. And so I read the description beforehand. It said, I think, like, a gay man has a trauma that sends him back to experience gay culture from the 70s, I think is kind of what I
Yeah.
read. So that's what I went into it expecting. But then what I saw was like, I mean, it's just so like, it is really, here's what it's like a policeman comes and sort of beats one of them. It like it just gets real heavy about what it's like to be a homosexual in the 70s versus now, and kind of how they take it for granted maybe now. I don't know if that, but anyways.
It's
it was,
reviewing history. It's remembering the roots of not only the civil rights movement, but also of the LGBTQ movement that has happened in this country. And something that really stands out to me is when people start to put dates on, like, the civil rights movement was in 1968. We're looking at like the LGBTQ movement, which has barely found its footing within the last decade. I mean, this isn't a distant past. This is very current. We still have people that remember these tragedies or these victories that have happened. So it was important to me, particularly with The View Upstairs, that people be reminded that what the show revolves around is a what's the word I'm trying to say? So someone went in and burned down the bar. It's based off of actual events. It was the largest hate crime against the LGBTQ community until the Pulse tragedy.
Wow.
So, and there were, 39 people murdered in this. I'm not remembering the number correctly, and I apologize.
in the fire.
In the fire. It was arson. It was the bar was called the Bar Upstairs. I'm getting my words twisted. Let me try that again. The Upstairs Lounge. And so it was really this safe space for people within that community to go to in the 70s, in 74, where you have people living other lives, or you have people, trans people, lesbians, particularly women of color who are lesbians, going in and having the safe space to just be themselves. And the horrific thing about this is people watched this bar burn down. Like, there was a bar across the street and no one helped these people try to get out. And things being said like, I hope it burned their dresses off of them. And there were bodies left in the windows, because over the windows were just these bars, so people couldn't get out. And so local authorities left the charred bodies in the windows for up to a week. Jeez. So just really revisiting the past and providing a platform for people to examine how far we've come or how little we've come. And for me, the best way to do that has always been through theater.
That's great.
Yeah.
So, Alicia, I wanted to maybe give the audience a little bit of context about who you are and kind of how you came to start Good Company? Can you kind of tell us a little bit about your kind of formative years and how you got into theater?
Oh, well, I was younger, and that ambition goes a long way.
Sure does.
But my background, so I graduated from Weber State University in 2010 officially.
Go Wildcats.
Yes, go Cats.
Go Wildcats.
Always.
With my degree in musical theater. And so I thought, as most people in musical theater do, that my future was to be on Broadway. And so to work my trek to go back there and to be on the Great White Way or to get onto a national tour. But as I started to go to all of these national auditions, I found myself missing things like, oh, I want to put this costume piece together, or, oh, I want to produce this piece of work. And so I found myself coming back to Utah. I never moved out of Utah. Found myself coming back to Utah and getting involved with other theater companies and saying like, okay, I know I'm on stage, but how do I get involved administratively? How do I make this happen? And as I really started to think about it, I'm like, well, wait, what stories do I want to tell? What stories or need to be told, and who isn't being represented on stage in Utah? And it came really simply. And I'm like, okay, now's the time for me to try this. And my sister at the time, she was out of state finishing up a fellowship at the Walker Art Museum. And I just started to talk to her about it, and it started to steamroll. And I'm like, I'm going to go look for a space. She's like, okay. Because the idea of it, when I first started to pursue it, was to do site-specific theater. So find a play or a musical and then rehearse it somewhere else, someone's basement or something, and then go to like Union Station and perform it there. So to really help activate these different iconic parts of Ogden City.
Interesting.
And then as I started to look around, I'm like, okay, I think I need a place to call home, because I was involved with different theater companies where we'd rehearse at libraries or at someone's home. And that was always hard to bounce around. And something I really wanted to do was to have a sacred space where we could experience our successes and our failures, but it was ours. So we couldn't really find a space that was working out too well. And then as storybook as it is, the last place that we looked, which was 260 25th Street, right above Jack and Jill's, which is a perfect place for a theater company.
Yeah.
It was the last place we looked, and it was perfect. I walked in with George Whiting, who has recently, well, not recently, 2 years ago, I think, passed away. Rest in peace. I walked up there with him, and I'm like, we can do everything here. We can rehearse. We can build sets. We can seat our audience. And it was 1,500 square feet.
Wow.
It was miniature when you think about it. But it was absolutely magical. And we were there for 5 years and produced over 25 shows.
Amazing.
Yeah.
So about 5 a year.
Yeah. Yep. And it was all the little area that people came in, we had one bathroom that was, about 500 square feet. Then the performance space was like 800 square feet. And then just a sliver of a closet for all the actors to get ready in.
And it was called Good Company?
Yeah. Yep. Still Good Company Theater. And the reason for the name, when my sister was getting her advanced degree over at SFAI, San Francisco Arts Institute, it's just, again, driving. I called her one day and I'm like, what if a theater company was called Good Company Theater? She's like, okay, because I just say stupid shit all the time. And this was probably like 4 years before I even thought I could open a theater company. And I'm like, because it's like you can be in good company. It's not going to turn people away. It's just very friendly. And, she's like, okay, great. Thanks. I got to go write a paper.
Yeah. And you're like, all right, decision made.
Yeah. And then like when we found the location, when I decided to move forward with it, she hopped on to the project, and then we were getting ready to apply for our business license, the Ogden City Arts Grant. And she's like, we need a name. I'm like, oh, what could it be? What could it be? And I'm like, it can't be anything with Washington in it, because there's Washington Boulevard. And that just feels way, way, way too much for me, where I'm like, oh, my last name's Washington. That's great. But it's like, well, she's like, why don't we just stick with Good Company? And if we change it, we change it. But it's really come to our benefit.
It's good.
And it's like GTC.
Yeah.
So
I love the shirts that you all made. You down with GCT?
Yep.
Yeah.
Yeah, you know me.
Yeah.
Do you guys do anything with like outreach to local high schools and stuff, trying to find? I guess I don't know what what do you do like about casting? Do you just people just come to you and they're like, hey, I want to be in this play, or hey, I want to learn how to act, that kind of stuff? Like, how does that work? Or
I always believe anyone can get on stage. That's just like the truest part about me, where I think anyone can sing and anyone can act, right? It's just the level at which like you put the energy and time behind it. It'll just help mold your craft even more. But when it comes to Good Company Theater, with my time on stage, I've developed really great lasting relationships and a good hold on the talent, from designers to directors to actors within the state. So typically when we first started off, we didn't hold auditions. It was just, hey, are you available to do this role?
Yeah, can you come
I
out
know
here?
you'd be great. Yeah.
Like you were out scouting them?
I do that as well. Like, I think like LA Alicia is a very ruthless casting agent that's very successful, because I can see someone, get to know them, and if they have an interest in acting, I'll be like, oh, I'm going to call on them, have them read the script, and if they're available, they'd be perfect for the role.
Well, I was gonna say since I've started following your theater, like the people you cast, you have like it's people I'll know from just like within the community, and then they're just casting a play. I'm like, I didn't know this person acted. Yeah, like it's a fun thing about your shows, I think.
And people, I mean, Utah's really unique in the sense that it's a red state, but very liberal when it comes to the arts, which is shocking. And so you have also a predominant religion that focuses on developing these different skill sets that are involved in the performing arts. Indeed. From speaking, public speaking, to dance, to singing. It's kind of astounding how talented people are in this state.
Yeah. That was another, maybe a couple of months ago, you did a casting call, I think, where it was like, we need somebody who plays the trumpet or something like that.
Yeah.
And I just love that. It's like, we want somebody to play the trumpet live in our show. And so bring that first, and then we'll teach you how to act, kind of.
Yeah. It was for the jungle, actually. And looking for someone who plays the violin, who is an actor, who's an actor who plays the violin. I mean, you can get into semantics, but.
Right. Yeah, I like that. And the view upstairs, you had that guy playing the piano the whole time, which I loved it. It's a really good element, especially being so close to the actors and all of that.
So he played, his name is Paul Naylor. He played the role of Buddy. And actually his day job is he's a dentist.
Oh, really?
Wow. What?
Wow.
When he came out and did the stuff.
Has he's done shows? He's done other shows, right?
Yes, we have been fortunate to work with Paul for years now. I think we've been working with him at least once every 2 years, if not multiple times within a year, for 5 years.
That's awesome.
So do you need anyone that knows how to be a plumber, but also has to be...
I need somebody to be fixing a drain.
And also be able to act.
See,
or video
your guy
gamers.
is right here.
Shane is your
video
guy.
game.
Oh.
Here's the thing is like, you tell me and I don't forget. I'm like a little like bank of like these skills that everyone
Shane's
has.
got 'em.
So
Yeah, just give me a call.
It'll stay up there. Okay, you got it.
He does a really great pirate thing too.
Yeah, that's true. But you do pull a lot of folks from the community. Like we've had Brandon Gartside on the show here, and we talked about local sports specifically. And when Brandon used to work for the Standard and cover Weber State sports, but Brandon has been in. I went and saw Gloria with my wife, and he was one of the main actors in that show.
Yeah.
Oh, he was.
Yeah. We had Dave Foley on 2 weeks ago, and Dave's wife Sana she was also in that production.
She's also over our social media.
Yep. Yeah, Sana's super involved, and so you just get good folks from the community who have a passion for the arts.
And that was important to me. I studied in Chicago for a little bit, and I remember when I wasn't in session, I would just go out and see shows. It was just storefront theater, and at that moment, gosh, I think I was like 23, 24. I was like, I just want to create theater that mimics someone's favorite bar or someone's favorite restaurant, where they come in and you know them. And if you know the person, they're more willing to come out and just be like, great, I don't know anything about the show, but I want to, fellowship with you and I want to support the arts. Yeah. And so it was really important for me to establish the relationships first, both with our patrons, everyone that we work with, and then the work will be there. Then that comes along with it. And that just creates a stronger community in general, in my opinion.
Yeah, because it does feel like there's definitely a core group of folks who support Good Company. You know, they're season ticket holders. You know, they're regularly in productions. All of those good things, and it just sort of it creates like an ecosystem.
Exactly.
And they get their friends involved, like you said, and then you know you show up and you know, hey, I know this person, and so I don't know what I'm about to see, but I know it's going to be good.
Yeah.
And the unique thing that we've been able to develop is like when I first started, it was definitely a passion and it still is, but it's become more, you know, on the business side, which no one thinks will happen in the arts because you just do it because you love it. But to be able, I knew I wanted to have Good Company be in Ogden, and everyone thought I was out of my mind, which yes, I am. But two, I've always trusted in Ogden when it comes to the performing arts, from Utah Musical Theater that I went to as a kid, which was a professional theater company that operated for 15 years, out of the Egyptian, to seeing the quality of work coming out of Weber State University, to some of the first things that I did outside of junior high and high school, which was Terrace Playhouse. There's always been such strong support for the arts in Ogden. So it just made sense for me that, yeah, I'm going to start a theater company in Ogden.
That's cool.
Yeah, and I was going to say that, you know, for a city our size, it does feel like there is a lot of support. You know, you can go to the Egyptian for a production. There's Ziegfeld. There's Good Company. There are, you know, even I went down to Harvest Moon yesterday, and you know, the Eccles was out there, you know, and they were repping it, and you know, I've heard that they've held really small productions in the basement of that place, and so it does feel like there's a really thriving community around it.
And it's always been important for us and at the forefront of Good Company Theater to create jobs within the arts. That's why ever since we opened our doors, we've always paid everyone. It's not the easiest thing to do. It's not, you know, a living wage, but it's like, hey, you are giving us this service. Yes, you need to get paid. We need to start empowering artists to get paid for what they do. Yeah. And then that also grows us as a theater company to a point of like, we do hold equity contracts, which is an actors union. You know, we are a full season of shows that we do because we've made that a priority to remain professional within our means, because you're seen differently when that happens, and it's hard to get to that point, but it's necessary.
Yeah, that's a great point.
Well, and I was going to say, I think that there's definitely that kind of mentality in the arts community in Ogden, I think. You look at some of the work that like folks like Amir Jackson are doing with Nurture the Creative Mind, where they, you know, getting kids involved in the arts in various forms, but, you know, sort of teaching them, you know, that their work has value.
Exactly.
And that, like, if you're, you know, Amir doesn't do projects where, you know, they're just going to, you know, the kids are just going to get ripped off or whatever. Like, he teaches them, like, this is the thing, or now we have the Argo House on 25th Street.
Yep.
And it does feel like there's kind of this, you know, this mentality where it's like, this is a job. And like, this is, if you're going to go and get this kind of work from folks, they should be compensated.
Absolutely.
And I don't know that that exists everywhere, but it definitely exists in Ogden.
It does. And we have to have it because that's the only way we're going to keep these talented people in town. Because if there's not the money, there's not the environment where people want to come in and pay for your goods when it comes to the arts, they're going to go elsewhere. They're going to go to Park City. They're going to go to Salt Lake if they stay local, or for me, they'll go to either coast, to New York or LA.
Right.
Because even for the little jobs, they'll get paid. So we have to start, and more people have to find that funding so we can keep the work here.
Yeah. Speaking of paid arts, I was sad recently because, you know, so in Nine Rails in the district right there, the creative district, they had done all this beautiful work on the street, and they ground up the road.
Yep.
Oh, no.
Yeah.
I think
They ground it all up.
I mean, not to get into politics because you don't ever do that here, right? But in a way, there's a lack of communication and transparency, I think, when it comes to the arts and local administration, where, yes, we do have an arts coordinator who does a fantastic job. Yes, there you have Christy and Ashley with the arts and special events, but still they kind of exist on an island. That why didn't someone just with an email, a text, a tweet, I don't know, say to someone, hey, coming down the line in 6 months, in 3 months, there's going to be a major road project that happens where we are tearing up this road, where maybe we want to find a different place within the Nine Rails district to make this happen. Or, hey, we'll front the money. I don't know. I don't know what the answer is to that. But as an arts organization, we're expected to exist independently of the city, but also be like a major factor of why people should come to Ogden City, where you can't have both.
Yeah, so do you get any support from the city or the county?
So we have received ramp from Weber County, yes. And then also, I mean, I guess I should ask define support.
Well,
financially,
I do mean financial,
or
yeah.
okay. And then yes, every year that we've been open, we have fortunately received funding from Ogden City Arts.
Or that building? You're in a historic building?
We
Is that
are the
historic?
new Bingham Apartments
Yeah, I see.
that are
they're-
really haunted.
Are they?
Are they?
I mean,
Yeah,
'Cause-
our other space was haunted, and those spirits followed us over.
oh, you think so?
Oh, I know so.
That's
They're
awesome.
hilarious. We call them the ladies. They love to mess with sound cues and props and lights.
Yeah, you need that.
And
Every
then-
good theater has a couple good ghosts.
So they followed us over to our studio, but then in the theater itself, which is 2404 Wall Avenue, we have this little girl. We have some aggressive spirit that lives on the stairs.
Oh.
But usually when it gets about to 1 a.m., you leave.
Yeah.
That's their time.
What?
Yeah.
Spooky. I love it.
But then
Wait. Why don't you
Tell
do
me
something?
you're having.
Yeah.
She's
Some
having
kind of ghost-
spooky sleepovers there. That she's.
Yeah.
It's private parties.
You should do that private party and then have people come. Like,
Oh.
you know, black people are the first ones to get killed. I'm not,
hey,
I'm not
with
gonna
you on
do that.
Like,
I'm
but
not
that would
gonna
be
do
fun
that.
though, right?
Well, we've been
do
approached
it.
by, I mean, a lot of like the local, like,
Ogden Paranormal.
Yes.
Those folks.
and I'm just of the mentality that I don't want to stir it up.
Sure.
I don't want to stir them up. We went in
It'll
there.
be like a Phantom of the Opera shit. Oh my
It's-
god, how great would that be?
It would be cool.
Ogden
Dude,
Phantom
she
of
has
the
to
Opera.
put. Dude, she has to put on shows in
Yeah,
that place.
she's got to
man.
be there
My,
alone.
with it.
my liability insurance, I can only pay so much. So like, let's just
Yeah,
like
but
keep it.
think of the people that would come.
Oh,
yeah.
now I'm gonna have people sneak into the show trying to do some stuff during the show.
It might be me.
Better not.
Sounds
Well,
awesome.
just start off. I'll take you next door, and again, we call them the ladies. They're hilarious. They will turn the lights on and off all the time. Like I said, they were over at the other space, 260 25th Street, above the sex shop, Jack and Jill's, and so that building.
Oh, is
was,
that what that is?
You didn't know that?
It sounds right. Never mind.
All right. Whatever.
I thought that was like a. Never mind. Yeah. Sorry.
Oh.
Go
Hey,
on.
Dance for
We'll-
box
we'll
elder.
t- we'll
I
t-
mean, the window displays don't give it
Yeah, come
away.
on, man.
Maybe I'm in the wrong place.
Dan, we're going to talk
I thought
about
we
this.
were-
Dan, let's take this offline.
Yeah, buddy.
I kind of want to talk a little bit about your involvement, maybe outside of the theater in the community, other things, other projects that you're involved in. Before we came on the show, you talked a little bit about your involvement with Weber State's town halls on race.
Yeah.
How did that come to be? You know Adrian well or something? Or
So
how did it work?
actually, it was a call to arms that I put out, and so like myself, Adrian Andrews, and Monica Hall, we started that together. And with her, I've started to call her like the Oprah of social justice when it comes to Ogden, because she's just like this entity that is just like, please tell me what to do with this, and she just gives you this knowledge, and you feel blessed, and
awesome.
you feel like you can do it. So it was really when there was a rise of coverage when it came to police brutality in this nation about 2 years ago,
Okay.
that I started to call out Ogden City, and I said, people are scared within this community.
Yeah.
It can happen to people within this community, and it's going to happen. We have the opportunity as a city, as someone who I believe in this city so much, and I love the access that I have to city council members. And that goes with anybody. Like, anybody can directly talk to their local representatives, and I hope they do, because they are so accessible. Where I just said, we have got to talk about this, because there are some power players where we can have something in I don't know, just happening in back rooms, having these conversations about how do we stop this from coming to Ogden City? Because if we don't, it is going to. And we can be an example of a city of things that are happening, terrible things around this country. And so I put it on Facebook when Facebook, was still valid or
Was there
happy
a
place.
time where Facebook was a little more chill? I don't remember that
know.
time.
So this was about 2 years ago. And I just said, hey, this is happening. I'm really scared. Who can come have a conversation with me at Cafe Mercantile, offered on 26th Street, Nick and Lance, their space. And I called out Ben Nadowski, his wife Janie, Adrian, other people within the community, Monica. I'm trying to think of who else was there. I think Angela was there with her husband Matt.
Jaberka.
Yes, thank you. And I'm like, I'm freaked out. What are we going to do as a community? because we have people scared. We have people who feel voiceless, who don't want to leave their apartments or their houses, who feel like they're targeted. And we need to have these conversations with local administration and then also with the local police department. And it was just a really vulnerable moment for a lot of people within that room where it was, please help me get this. I don't get this. I don't want to say what's the big deal here, but I think that's the simplest way to put it. And then what can I do to be a better ally and an advocate? And so from that, Adrian, Monica, and I continued talking. And then it just became a grassroots thing where it's like, hey, let's hold these conversations. Let's invite the community to talk about what is privilege? What is racism? Why the rise with Black Lives Matter? What does that movement mean? I don't get it. Please help me understand. So it really became this platform that is solely intended to educate people who maybe don't want to spend their time online trying to get through all the information that's out there or misinformation that's out there.
I was going to say, or like trying to keep it clear, because a lot of that back in 2016, 2 years ago, 3 years ago, was all kind of jumbled anyway.
And then really this like face-to-face contact, because a lot of people can say a lot of stuff online, but what is it when you can sit there and be present and listen to someone's experience, or share your own experience if you choose to, or learn all of this terminology, when it comes to what does the levels of access look like? What does it look like when we come to these different levels of violence? Why did we get to this point? Why do people of color, why do Black people get pulled over so frequently? I've never heard of this till now. And then also a space for people of color within the community to potentially heal, to potentially be heard, to create that space for them as well.
So I'm curious, have you been able to have much dialogue with the police department themselves?
Because it sounds like there's been a fair bit of dialogue with city leaders on this.
And that's how it kind of seems generally, is the city is interested in working with the community and trying to find something. They don't really know what to do. And maybe they are getting some direct dialogue with the police department. But I don't get the sense that people get a direct dialogue in. And it seems like really what we get from the police department is they just they have to kind of insulate themselves and defend themselves. And I mean, they don't seem interested in engaging in a conversation about it.
I don't know if it's not being interested as much as it's, I think, learned and institutionalized behavior that really stems a lot of the issues of a lack of transparency and a lack of a representation or a voice for change or for policy review.
Yeah.
So I think that's ingrained when they decide to step forward and get the training necessary to become a police officer. I think there's ways that you fall in line or you don't.
Well, and that's exactly what I saw in that last city council meeting where Giovanni Mercado was shot by police a month or two ago.
August 17th.
Thank you. And so there's a lot of people in the community coming to speak out, and they're all saying, we just want to see a de-escalation, more non-lethal tactics. That's the kind of stuff they're saying. And what the police chief is saying is these guys did everything they could, and you guys are being unfair to the police, and you're politicizing.
You have a political agenda. Yeah, he said that several times.
And he's not hearing that message of, we just want you to de-escalate. There's a lot of stuff like, I don't know.
It's hard. It's hard to like break down exactly everything that happened and was said at that city council meeting. I don't have the date right in front of me, but it was,
I think it was September 10th. Yeah.
September 10th. Thank you. So before that, a spokesperson for the family, Malik, he went forward to city council, and a citizens review board has been put together that he has put together along with a couple other people within the community. And he came forward to city council and asked a couple of requests.
Sorry, can I back? So the citizens review board is independent of this incident. It was prior to this.
Correct.
It's like Yeah,
Correct.
It's an ongoing thing.
It's an ongoing thing. Well, that stemmed out of this is better to say. That's specifically around what's the transparency with OPD, with the Ogden Police Department, and how do we discuss and institute change when it comes to the de-escalation tactics used with OPD.
Okay.
And then also talking about how to diversify the officers.
Oh yeah.
The police force itself within Ogden, which stems into, if people haven't taken time to listen to the two candidates for mayor, there's one specific debate that's centered around public safety that was hosted by Ogden Police Department.
Right.
These guys were there live streaming it.
We were there
Yes.
live streaming.
They did.
Yes.
It's still on our Facebook page.
It is.
Perfect. I think this is a perfect time for people to go back and to review that. But what happened specifically with that public, with the city council meeting on September 10th is the stakes were raised when the agenda was amended last minute, around 24 hours before the meeting, where Police Chief Watt was put on the agenda. And that's where he read his statements.
Mm-hmm.
And word got out within the community that this was going to happen, specifically in response to the fatal shooting. And people felt very rallied to come and to be represented and heard by city council. The room was basically half and half of officers and then citizens. And the room was also segregated in that way. So
Is that right?
You walked in to an already very, very charged situation. And then, for my opinion, when the police chief got up, started off very factual. Anyone can go and look at this on Facebook.
Yeah, I watched it just before this interview.
Yeah, it's on YouTube. Just search Ogden City Council.
Yep, which I think is important because the police chief is supposed to represent everybody.
Sure.
And so it started off very factual statistics. And then the alarming part to me is it became very politicized and with charged statements such as all lives matter.
Yeah, he
heard
threw that
that,
in
yeah.
there. Yeah.
And then what was it? Monday court.
He called them Monday quarterbacks.
Yes.
Yeah, Monday morning.
The people that
quarterbacks.
had, something to say about this particular incident, though they weren't there, they didn't have to deal with it. Yeah, he called them Monday morning quarterbacks.
Yeah.
And, some of the people that got up to speak afterward kind of called him out on that.
Yes.
They said, well, I guess I'm a Monday morning quarterback because I'm here at this meeting and I care.
Right.
That's why I'm here is because I care.
Well, and people,
So sort of
people
discounting my view.
independent of that citizen review board, got up and said, there should probably be a separate investigation into this that has, that's done by an agency that's not based, potentially in Utah, particularly in Weber County, to really assess everything that happened. Because, if you listen to the facts that Chief Watt put out there, within 42 seconds of 4 officers arriving.
This man is dead.
Yes.
He's dead.
And all 4 officers fired their weapons.
Yeah.
Well, we should mention that the body cam footage is on YouTube too.
It is?
Yes.
And it's you should watch it, but it's tough because you see somebody die.
Yes.
Yeah, you do.
But I'll admit, on the first watch, I'm like, he is ignoring the cops. He's not responding. He's walking, not listening. And then he crosses that threshold. And I'm like, I can see why they said they felt threatened. At the same time, they didn't really feel threatened. They thought that they might get attacked. Nobody thought they were going to die. None of those police officers, I don't think, thought they were going to die. And a simple beanbag shot to that guy would have stopped him.
And that
Maybe.
was one of the
Maybe.
things.
Good point.
Yeah, that was one of the things that was brought up. And I think, I have not chosen to serve in the way that those police officers, any police officer has. So I don't know what it's like to be in those situations.
Mm-hmm.
But I do know what it's like to feel a power, dominance.
Yeah.
With 4 police officers and 20 people standing by, and the assailant, if you will, has a knife. And then, they show up and they know a little bit of background about this individual, but also, in listening to other people, some of the concerns that were brought up within the city council meeting is, what is the training that happens for people that maybe have a mental illness? How do you identify those signs? Or someone who may be having a psychotic episode, like they're coming off of even antidepressants can send you into a state of psychosis.
Yeah, or maybe he's on a hallucinogen.
Yeah.
But that doesn't mean he needs to die.
And then even looking at things like, okay, rubber bullets. What does that do?
Right.
Those fit in. I don't know a lot about guns, so I don't want to misspeak, but according to a trusted source, like you can put those in a regular firearm.
Right. It's just a bullet.
Yeah,
I mean, if you watch the video, the guy's doing a zombie walk, right?
Yeah.
I've seen knives pulled at parties. I never thought I was going to die immediately. All right. So there should be at least 3 options, before the guns are fired. I mean, if the guy has a gun, then you shoot. Right.
Yeah. Or if he's threatening, and I don't want to sound insensitive to police.
Going to the cheat.
No, go ahead.
He wasn't when he speaks. He's not going to say anything like, "We will look into this. We will change our ways," because this is going to go on for years. This case, right? He can't say. By him saying that we may change our ways is admitting that they could have done something different.
Better, yeah.
And he's never going to do that.
Which is unfortunate because, after the chief speaks, there are a couple of other officers who speak as well, and it feels sort of like they were put up to speaking, to sort of back up the boss. And then the community comes in and they talk about it. And one of the things that sort of frustrated me, like Alicia has said, was, the chief's job is to represent everybody. He works for you, Shane. You live in Ogden City. He works for you.
He was trying to take care of my money. That's what he was doing.
Well, and but the thing was, like, I think that there are ways, because I'm going to be honest, like, my take on this was that the chief was really combative, like from the outset, like he was there to war, like, period.
Yeah.
And like Alicia said, like, the things, if you watch his statement, like, yeah, he does lay out the facts, and he talks about how officers don't use their weapon 99.8% of the time, but like that
was also within
gives a
like
shit?
but that was in a 19 months. Like, we're not looking at like the entire OPD history here. That was within a very condensed amount of time that he pulled these statistics.
But I don't care that it's 99.8. I want it to be 99.99999. Like, it felt like he talked a lot about these.
If I tell that guy I don't steal stuff 99.8 of the time, is he going to be cool with that?
Well, the thing was, is like he lays out all of these, this is the state standard, 40 hours of training, and we have this many hours of training, and he's pointing back to all of these minimums. And 2 things that came to my mind. The first one was the chief. It seems that he's so focused on the minimums, he maybe missed what could be, like Alicia has talked about here. Like, that's great. We've exceeded those minimums far and beyond, but could we be better? Could we be more? Could we be an example of what could be? Because we are a diverse community, and that I think is one of our strengths. Us and Salt Lake, we get called out a lot. We are some of the most diverse communities in the state, and so, but it seemed to me
only when it's to Ogden City benefit.
Yeah,
that's the thing you have to consider. Is those statistics like to be thrown around when it's like, look at how diverse we are.
Yeah.
But in the same respect, when you look at how many calls are put out to like, let's say East Central, where most of the crime happens, whereas predominantly you have a large population of different cultural makeups, racial makeups, everything like that. So in that respect, the diversity card is played opposite.
Yeah. Where it's like, this is the dangerous part of Ogden, right?
Which ticks me off, quite frankly, because everyone loves to talk about, we're 32% Hispanic, Latino, Latinx, but then it's like, oh shit, we're these statistics. It doesn't line up to me anymore. And then also, just going back to Police Chief Watt's statement, he takes that sharp left turn where it becomes very, very, very charged statements where you're like, okay, I would just like to ask him who read his speech before he went up there in a very simple way, right? We have a diversity officer. We have a community outreach. I forget her exact title, but Diana Lopez, right? Viviana Felix, who are both incredible, but they're only one.
Just one of them.
One.
Yeah.
Was he potentially encouraged to send this to them to read? Not that that's in their scope of work, or someone within his office. I think the part that scares me most is that was of his own volition that he got up there and read that statement.
Right.
Yeah.
Which does not represent the Ogden that I live in.
Right.
Yeah, and the second piece to all this is, so he gets up there and it's clear that maybe he doesn't have a vision for what could be. He's just focused very much on these, sort of the lower tier of we're meeting these standards, so that's good. The second piece is a lot of people talked about trust, right? The second speaker after the two police officers get up, she talks about, I live in this community and I don't trust you guys, and that's the issue.
Snap.
We talked about 4 officers arrive. Within 42 seconds, the man is dead. 42 seconds.
Yeah.
There's
It was they arrived, and then within 10 seconds of him taking out the knife, he was shot.
Okay, so
10 seconds.
If you watch what happens, the entire time they just yell at him. There's no, hey man, what's going on? Hey, tell us your name. What's happening tonight? None of that. Immediately is drop the knife. Yes, police stop, drop the knife. And they just yell at the guy. Like there's no ability to build any sort of like, hey, give us the situation. Like, can we calm down? Like, the big critique on Ogden Police Department in this situation was de-escalation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Though we really don't know.
But what I'm saying is there was no verbal attempts to de-escalate the situation whatsoever. But the chief points to all of this de-escalation training, and then, like we've talked about, within 42 seconds, a man is dead.
But we don't, the sound gets turned on partway through the video. We don't know what gets said then. We don't know what's said before because they're already on the scene. Who knows, just to be fair. You don't know if there was some de-escalation that wasn't caught on film.
If so, then why wouldn't they put it out?
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know how the
body
cameras seem to never
that helps their case
catch that side of it.
We did all of this because that was the crux of Chief Watt's argument is we are so trained and we are the best. He talks about we were one of the best police departments at de-escalation. We have all this training. Okay, well, if that's the case, then put out the video that shows you trying to talk to this guy, build the rapport, try and build the trust, and then we have to shoot him.
Yeah.
If that's the case, if that's there, put it out there.
Yeah.
It's not out there, man. It didn't happen.
So we're looking at approaching people wanting to approach the local police force and change policies, and what does true de-escalation look like? And number one, that's hard. But 2, you have a community healing from someone being dead, being killed, who is of the Hispanic Latino community. And then additionally, you have some things that went wrong where no one from the city, OPD has reached out to the family, but if the family decides to press charges, what does that conversation do for anyone, right? Not saying that they are. There's nothing factual about that, but if they decide to. In fact, they do. But you also have a city and a mayor who said nothing about this situation.
Yeah.
Change is going to come from the top. The chief.
Yeah. Where's the leadership?
Yeah. If the council and the mayor demand that the chief change the way they do things, it'll happen.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sitting here thinking about what you said. You're probably right that chief is protecting the city from a lawsuit. He sees that as his job. So that becomes the filter through which he sees the entire thing. And I think that maybe is what triggers him to react the way he does, right? So if that is part of the problem, then I've just been sitting here asking myself how we address that.
Mm-hmm.
And maybe it sounds crazy, but maybe there is an element of showing support to that chief and saying you're not the one who should be held accountable when it's determined that this was handled improperly. Do you know what I mean?
But those guys acted on orders or direction from the chief, the way they're trained.
There's always a standard to be upheld, right? And we saw the standard.
Yeah.
To me, it's like they know when they have a green light.
I believe.
And those guys, 4 guys standing there with a gun, did not feel in danger, but they knew there's the legal definition of danger. Let's shoot.
Yeah, I told him to stop. He's got a weapon. If he crosses this line, I kill him.
Yeah.
It's as simple as that. It's not no emotions to it.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
You're right.
So my other beef with the chief's speech was that over and over again, he gives condolences to the family, but then he both sides it and says, we would never want this to happen to the family or to the officers' families. And he continually lays blame at the feet of the victim. Like, this is his fault. He did this, blah, blah, blah. This is what we had to do. And then he, offers his hollow condolences to the family. And it's just like, And then he also, at the beginning of his speech, talks about how the family's emotions are being, used by people who have a political agenda. And it's like, dude, you can't offer your condolences and then beat them over the head with, this thing like that. You don't.
He made something that probably should have been done very privately, public, and on record.
Yeah.
So,
and it's not to say that he isn't experiencing both of those, because he is a human, right?
Sure.
He has probably seen some of the most horrible sides of human behavior that I can't even imagine.
Well,
but I hear what you're saying, where you can't talk out of both sides of your mouth.
And now that you mention that, like, I just cannot help. If this was a white family, I am sure the police department would be talking to that family much more closely than they are with this family who is largely Spanish speaking.
It was all completely mishandled by Ogden City, from just from how do you reach out to the family? How are the body cams? How's that footage released? Who should we go to first? I mean, even the fact that you have to break it down in those ideas is wrong, because it goes back to there needs to be a stronger enforcement of de-escalation tactics used first.
Yeah.
That's what it has to go back to.
So you said, have you talked to? You said you don't know what de-escalation looks like. Is that what you said?
Yeah, I mean, what does it look like for?
So like, to me, if you have 4 officers in cars and a guy's walking at you at 1.2 miles an hour, there's nothing fucking wrong with getting in your car.
Well, also,
no, I
to
mean,
be
like,
to be fair, there were 20 people.
Yeah, right.
There were bystanders.
Okay.
There were other people there. It was, so I mean, there were some other
family
situations.
or just neighbors or what?
Other people he wasn't
it was
approaching.
like a party or something.
Yeah.
Like at that same house?
Well, he had
Down the street, right?
He was walking as far as what I've read.
Yeah.
Okay,
Right.
Everyone can please cross-reference me. I encourage it. Please do your own research. But he went by and I think was going this family party or this party that was happening, and someone from that party called, and he had gone somewhere else to a carport.
Right.
And that's where officers approached him.
Yeah.
But I think it was his carport. So what I had read is that he had approached the party. He had been searching cars, and that's what people called on. But when they approached him, and the video was at his house.
At his grandparents' house, correct?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
And so I think it's just at the moment, it's only the police officers there. He's coming out because the police officers are there. If the police officers just take a step back and say, all right, buddy, we'll just get in our cars and you go back over there for a minute.
And I think you can separate it too, because there's strength in numbers. There's 4 police officers. But when it comes to like one police officer with one person, right, I think the game changes. So to try to put this blanket de-escalation on all situations isn't fair, and isn't fair to situations that these officers find themselves in. So it has to be clearly identified, and training for each one of these situations.
Yeah, it's...
Well, yeah, we are definitely downplaying the trickiness of it. They don't know whose house he's at.
I want to know what...
You should.
You don't know if you leave that guy alone, he might go hurt somebody else.
Yeah. And
so they don't really have a choice to walk away necessarily.
And you don't know if you see somebody in your garage,
Yeah.
right? It's the neighbor, the heroin addict, right? Your neighbor's kid, and he's stealing your air compressor, right? No, I'm just saying. So you go out there and I go confront, no, I'm just saying, because it fucking happens all the time, right? No, I mean, you're laughing at this, but it's like, you can yell at him, you can go do it, maybe you get hurt, you let him go, you go talk to him the next day, everything's fine. You call the cops, the kid could end up dead.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I want to know how it goes down.
Yeah.
Well, I think that, a lot of folks in that meeting expressed that they don't feel that level of trust, and that's a key piece of, it's what Angel talked about when she came on the show about, having cops walk their beat and know the people in their community. It's a key piece to all this, and
also people like changing the idea of what a police officer is, because you within the Black community, and I don't want to do a blanket statement, but it's like you don't snitch on your own. You don't do that.
Yep.
And that's a whole culture within itself. And that's a complete breakdown in trust. And also like institutionalized, right? We have this whole history of being put in these very specific boxes and pretty much being just like ability to be charged for anything.
Yeah.
and then you're in jail, or you're serving your life in prison. Who knows? So I mean, like, you're dealing with intergenerational like trauma.
Yeah.
That on the community side is hard to break through and even identify in some respects, because our experiences are entirely different when it comes to dealing with the police.
Right. And I think the establishment just gets daunted when they look at sort of all of the ramifications that they would have to deal with, and so they just sort of block it out.
Well, that's privilege, right?
Yeah.
That's when you're in an institute, when this is how this institution has been brought up, that you get to be in that position of power. Yeah. You don't have to consider it. And then trying to dismantle that after years and decades and generations of what this is. Yeah. It's exhausting. Yeah. And you don't know where to start. And that's also a key element where we love Ogden and we love how close everyone is, or we're 6 degrees of separation. Yeah. Why can't we do that here? Why can't we even have that training when it comes to like, what do you mean there's this intergenerational blah, 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 blah? It's like, okay, let's identify it. So maybe there's a little bit more empathy when it comes to seeing a community that's hurting and that wants to be heard. Create that space. That's what they're asking for. We're asking for a little bit of space to be heard and to process this instead of just this wall of just stats and training.
Yeah. So when it comes to action that people can take, are you still doing these town halls?
They have gone dormant for about, I want to say 6 months. Adrian has a beautiful little boy. Monica is very involved with the Poor People's Campaign. I got very injured last summer, which took me out of the game, and I'm still kind of like coming back from. I broke my leg roller skating because I just wanted to bring back roller disco. But anyway.
Oh man.
True story.
But so cool. So there's the Citizens Review.
So that's something that they can, Black Lives Matter, you can go on social media and look them up. Malik, I forget his last name. He's he's spearheading that.
What was it again?
Dio.
Because I think y'all just had coffee or something the other day.
I didn't. Okay. I haven't met him.
Okay. He's very involved. He's a spokesperson for the family. And Susie Daly of Grounds for Coffee is very involved in this.
Yep. Oh, yeah.
But I really feel like people should be moved to go and watch the last, and even the upcoming one, city council meeting. The last 4 city council meetings, to understand the first meeting that happened where Malik got up and spoke on behalf of the family, where they laid out some really simple requests, such as just a review of de-escalation tactics with Ogden, with OPD. And then the meeting after that where Police Chief Watt spoke. And then was there a city council meeting last Tuesday?
I don't know.
I think there was a work session.
I think there,
But then this upcoming week, which I will be at, you can always go to city council meetings. They're at 6 p.m., 3rd floor of the city county building.
Tuesday?
Yes, Tuesdays. The Diversity Commission is on the agenda to speak. Oh. They've been requested to be put on the agenda, and that was honored. So they're going to get up and speak, which I think is a great move for the Diversity Commission, which is kind of a bookmark for the city, where they can say the city has a Diversity Commission, but they have no teeth. And that's not of any of the astounding people that make up that commission. It's because of the confines of the city.
Yeah, because there are a lot of really great people on there.
Amazing people on there.
Yeah. In fact, one of the events that we're going to talk about here in a little bit, it came from Jeremy Shinoda, House District 8 Chair for the We Were Dems. He sent me an email last week and said, "Hey man, here's the events calendar for the Diversity Commission. If you ever want to pull something off here and shout it out on the podcast." So I actually did that this week.
But I think other ways to get involved. So we are still, the town hall conversations on race are still active on like social media, primarily Instagram. I know Monica Hall and Adrian Andrews are always accessible along with myself to have these conversations. But it's really hard to find a platform to get involved in this city. I mean, there's LUPEC, there's Action that you can get involved with as well. It's just kind of finding your footing and going to meetings or talking to people that are involved with those organizations to see how you can get more involved.
Yeah. So you were saying there is a Black Lives Matter Ogden chapter?
Yes.
Is that right? And that's who Malik is?
It's Jakai Kelly.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Sorry.
Yeah, so there's a Facebook group, and you can get involved there. I think there's a little application you have to fill out to get in, a little bit of a filter so you don't get randos. But But yeah, you can get involved there, and they do a lot of stuff fairly regularly. They'll shout it out in the group, and
Nice.
there are a lot of opportunities. And then when incidents like these, or there was one a few months ago in Harrisville, they were super involved in that one as well. And a lot of information came through that. So if you want to be up to date on when things happen.
And don't forget that there is a hate group located in Ogden, the Proud Boys.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
What?
The Proud Boys.
They have a chapter here.
Yes.
Yeah, of course they do.
Wow.
Yeah.
The ones with the tiki torches?
No, and not of course they do. It's like, that's a big fucking news.
So
like, I didn't know that.
I didn't know
Yeah,
that
me either. What the fuck?
It's everyone just needs to be aware.
Yeah.
It's everywhere, and whether it's microaggressions or larger issues of hate crimes, it is happening within our community. And there are ways when you choose to get involved with local politics, you can directly affect that change and how people are represented and heard.
Yeah.
And that's important to the growth of Ogden City.
Yeah. Yeah. It's a great point that the city council is interested in trying to make change at the Ogden Police Department. So it's a good time to give them your input.
There's something interesting that happens in that September 10th meeting as well. Councilmember Lopez apologizes to a couple other council members for statements that he said in a previous city council meeting the week before, that he said some things out of passion. And we could get into the details of it if you wanted to, but as someone in the audience, I was really discouraged to see a person of color apologizing to two white men.
Yeah.
That was really, really, really disheartening. And I understand why he did it. It was personal and political, and I respect him for that, but also for the couple city council members who received that apology to return it with statements like, well, I'm not a racist, or I don't, see bias or prejudice. It's little ways like that concern me, that we don't have a progressive city council or administration that is made up with people that understand the challenges of activism and social justice and the work and constant thought that needs to be put in that when you are in a position of power, primarily a white man.
Yeah.
So that all stems from theater. Sorry, that's a heavy load, but I think it's important for people to go back and watch
Thank
those.
you for bringing it up. Yeah,
it's
and
important.
coming on the pod
and I do feel like Luis Lopez and Angela Choburka is phenomenal, and I choose to create these spaces for education and honest dialogue with people about where they are, whether they want to progress in it or they don't see it at all. I'm willing to have those conversations. And one particular way that I have those conversations is through Good Company Theater.
Yeah.
Because the power of theater changes people. When you see those stories in front of you, there's nothing like it. But a sidestep of that, how I choose to stay active in the community and give back to the community, is really trying to strengthen these ties when it comes to what does true social justice look like within Ogden City and within, Weber County, really, when I can get there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I love it. Direct politics, I think, is losing its effectiveness in the world. And so I think you need to do it with things like art now. So it's a very, very important thing you do. I really appreciate it.
Yes, thank you. Thank you.
Thanks for coming.
So make sure to check out Ripped. It's it opened this weekend. It'll be going until the 6th
of October. Yep.
So it'll be open next weekend and the following weekend.
It's always weekends, right?
It's always weekends, and we have shows on Sundays.
Yep, and they'll have and you have a couple of options throughout. You'll have to check Good Company's website. So it's trying to remember the website exactly. It's
goodcotheater.com.
Yeah, goodcotheater.com. And you can go on there. There are a few matinees. There are a lot of options for you, and go out there and support local theater.
Absolutely,
yeah.
And vote and register people to vote.
Yeah.
The other way people can get involved is I'll send you the information, but there's a group of people that are going out and signing up in droves, groups of first-time voters.
Nice.
And there was a big event held at St. Joe's Church
a
week ago.
Angel advertised it. It was with the tacos, and it was on a Sunday, right?
49 people, first-time voters, all ages, different backgrounds, registered to vote. So vote for local politics. It's so important. Register to vote.
Awesome.
Utah.gov.
That's the tagline. All politics is local.
Ugh.
Yeah, we should get you to say it.
All politics is local.
Yes.
Perfect.
Did I say
we're gonna
local
use
or
that.
loco? I mean, whoop.
little bit of both.
Awesome. Thank you.
Alicia, appreciate you. Thanks
Yeah,
for coming
absolutely.
Yeah,
Thank you for
thanks
having
so
me
much.
on.
Thanks again to Alicia Washington for coming out and talking to us. Again, you can see her, visit her website and see her plays at the Good Company Theater. The website, again, was...
www.goodcotheater, and that's TRE theatre.com. And like we said, they're down on 24th Street in Washington. They have a play that's up right now. It's called Ripped. I think we're going to do JCP session down there. I think I'm thinking Saturday, October 5th, we'll do the matinee. What do you guys think? What do you think?
I'm down.
I gotta check with the boss, but I'm down.
Okay, yeah, I'm sure Maddie will go too. So,
John? Yeah, John's
John, you and
fucking
Sheena,
John's
yeah,
in.
you guys go. It's during the day.
Oh,
Is that going to be a problem?
I don't know.
Anyway,
All right.
JCP
Yeah.
day down at Good Company Theater, October
we'll
5th.
get like a bus together, a fun bus.
Fun bus
We'll meet at Shane's house.
from
and
Shane's
we'll go
house.
there. All right, so let's talk about the polls for this week. We had a really good one. Like last week, we said we were going to put it up. Who won the third debate? We had a lot of people vote. Nobody voted for Mike Caldwell.
Nobody. Yeah,
everybody
not one
voted.
person.
Angel. Angel won that by a landslide.
7-0.
So Angel's the mayor. Congratulations,
Congrats,
Angel.
Angel. We can get her inauguration speech here. No, just kidding. No. This week's poll. I didn't think about this one.
We just decide it later.
Yeah.
Well, I think that this week's poll should be around what we just talked about with Alicia and the issue with police and trust in Ogden. You know, maybe ask people like,
oh, do you trust the police?
maybe not that straightforward, but like, what do you think that OPD needs? Like, what is it that they're lacking?
Oh, kind of
You
like
know?
what we did with the Democratic one. Yeah. I
Yeah,
like
is
that.
it de-escalation
Is it a new
training?
message, or
Yeah,
is it
yeah.
this?
Do they
Like,
need?
okay, I
you know,
like that. That's good.
So that'll be what we'll put up in the group this week.
Good. And now we're into Pinkies Up, Thumbs Down. What's up? Anybody got Pinkies Up, Thumbs Down? Other than Kobe, we all know Kobe has them.
Yeah, I always do.
Oh, do you?
John?
Nope.
Nope. All right, Kobe, go ahead.
Shane, you got nothing?
No, I'm good.
So I was like, after last week's like pissed off rant about Republicans cheating, because they do, I was like, I need to bring something more lighthearted. And so this week, so I don't know if you guys have noticed, but the Lady Wildcats, the volleyball team, they have been playing really well. They've beat a lot of really good squads. They beat Kansas State. They beat who else? There was another big school that they beat already. And they've just been playing super well. They're 9-2 on the season. And so this Saturday, they beat in straight sets Utah State. And I don't know what it is in my brain, but lately I've been having this like, I want to beat Utah State at everything I possibly can, because for some reason like the Aggies just like get under my skin anymore. I don't know why.
I think they're great. They're our Northern Utah brothers.
But they're not though.
Brethren.
Because anyway.
We're like taking all the air out of his.
Yeah. Well, the thing was, so Pinkies Up to the Lady Wildcats for beating Utah State in 3 sets, in straight sets, 3 sets to none, and advancing to 9-2, improving to 9-2 on the season. So I'm calling it now, Big Sky champs. I think they're going to be the Big Sky champs.
Nice.
Until you said they advancing to 9-2, I thought you were making that whole fucking thing up.
Oh, you thought I was lying?
Yeah.
You thought I was lying about the whole thing?
I just
Colby doesn't care about volleyball.
Yeah. Kobe doesn't know.
Actually, when I was in studio, when I did Studio 76, that's my live event stuff. The only things I did were volleyball games.
Really?
Matches. Yeah.
Those were easy.
Yeah, they are easy.
Because
There's like 3 or 4 cameras, and that's like it. That's it.
Right.
It's easy.
All right. Well, I don't have one either. Actually, the thumbs up to or Pinkies Up to.
We don't need to try so hard. We can just move on.
Okay, that's fine too.
This segment like limps on every
It
week.
does.
You guys need to
Every
work
week.
harder.
Or we could just
probably
like
should.
move past the part where we say, I don't have anything. And we just do the one and then we go.
Or bring something.
You've got great ideas today.
Thank you.
You know what? I'm gonna take you for some gizzards and titties later. So let's get to upcoming events. Tuesday, September 24th, Weber County Forward, Town Hall, Pleasant Valley Library. So the address is 5568 Adams Avenue in Ogden. This is from 6 to 8 p.m.
That's the one that's the library that's right across the street from Ogden Regional Hospital.
So come out and support. This is a good forum for you to come out and listen and talk and really get involved in Ogden specific.
Nope, county. It's
county.
county.
It's Weber. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah,
Weber County. Sorry.
Yeah.
Weber
So
County
I mean, this
Forward,
is kind of like the Washington Terrace one, but Weber County Forward is the ballot initiative to change the form of county government from a 3-person commission to something more representative.
There's your plug, Kingmaker.
Yep.
Wednesday, September 25th, the Young Democrats Progressive Power Hour.
Yeah.
This is going to be held at Cuppa.
Shameless plug of my own event. Yep. Cuppa, Wednesday, 6:30 to 7:30. I'm just trying to get young progressives together in the city, hang out at a cool vegan place on 25th Street, support another fellow Democrat who owns the place, and let's get together. Let's just talk. I got no agenda really. So you want to talk?
It's just Power Hour. Like you're just going to.
Don't make Colby feel like he's the only young Democrat in the county.
I'd love to have some people show up. I really would. So please come down. It'll be fun.
It's a vegan place?
Yeah, it is.
Dude, Cuppa is awesome.
Cuppa's awesome. Yeah, Cuppa's awesome.
All right. Friday, September 27th, Youth Impact Casino Night fundraiser. This is at the fifth floor. The address is 2411 Kiesel?
Kiesel, yeah.
Is it Kiesel?
Yeah. So this is in the that's in the Lotus building, right? Or the old Kiesel building where the Standard Examiner used to be in the day.
Oh, is it right there?
Yeah, isn't that space?
Maybe it is.
Where Black
There's
Lotus.
something new there.
Yeah.
This goes from 6 p.m. to 10 p.m. If you don't like little kids, at least come out and play some casino stuff or do some stuff at the casino.
Youth Impact is awesome. Support them.
Saturday, September 28th, Weber Democrats, Dems and Dogs, BBQ, Mount Ogden Park. So this is just
free food,
right?
Yeah, this is the big county party event. They've been plugging it for 3 weeks,
something like
at least.
That.
Yeah, they've been plugging it for a while. Been sending out emails. So I think a lot of people are going to show up there.
12 to 2.
Yep.
12 to 2 on that Saturday.
Filming it and taking pictures, right?
Yeah, I'm going to be there for Dog.
And then you're going to go to the football game because Northern Iowa's coming to Ogden that night.
Is that the same night?
Yeah, sure is. It's a big game, dude. That's a playoff game right there, basically.
It's a playoff game.
It's going to be cold.
Top 10s, dude. It might be cold. I'm going to be in Denver, so sorry, guys.
You're not even going to be there?
No. I'm going to see the Brewers play the Rockies.
Shane, you're going to be there, right? Shane, you're going.
Probably not.
Fair enough. Okay. What about John Miles? John Miles going to be there?
No, man. Shit, no.
Are we talking about football or are we talking about Dems and Dogs?
The Dems and Dogs.
All of it. What a freaking dick.
Skipping it all.
Okay.
It's my wife's birthday.
Is it?
My beautiful wife's birthday.
Your wife's birthday is the 28th?
Yeah.
Dude, and your birthday was?
26th.
Oh, your birthday is the 26th?
It is the 26th, yeah.
Dude, and my birthday is the 24th.
That's right.
Dude, all right.
It's like a train.
Yeah, that is like a train.
I don't think that comes on now.
All right, sorry. No, it's not.
We're running the train, I think is what they say, right?
We're not going to say that.
Oh, my God. All right. So if you like us, you should follow us on Twitter, Facebook, Instagram. Get involved in the Facebook group. We do the polls there. Leave us a message, a comment, questions. If you have any special ideas or any guests that you'd like to see on the podcast,
special ideas.
I meant special guests, but then I said special ideas. Ideas for the podcast. Shoot us an email at junctioncitypodcast@gmail.com.
I mind that email account, and so. Yeah.
We've had a lot of good people.
If you email me, I will respond to you.
Yeah, it's good times.
Yeah.
You can rate us, right?
You can rate us 5 stars on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Stitcher. If you're still listening to the show, because it died about 5 minutes ago.
Ouch.
There's something fucking wrong with you. There's no goddamn way. After the interview, I wouldn't have just shut the show off and called it a good week. You know what I mean? So if you're still listening, I think there's something wrong with you. You're bloated.
I think you're awesome.
But you should still rate us.
I had to sit through this, so you have to sit through this.
Shit. I mean, I guarantee you have better things to do than be listening. We'll just drag this shit on for another 5 minutes.
All right, hey. So let's wrap it up.
Yeah, thanks a lot, John.
Yeah.
God damn it, say it, John.
You had one job, John.
Like we say every week.
All politics is local. Dude.